Jason, what is the word, sir?
Sorry, I didn't mean to just crash like that. My bad.
No, it's all right. I was about to do a topic, but it was just what's on TV and what folks need to be watching today. But no, it was a good stop.
I thought I would actually go into the green room first, but it just magically appeared. I'm like the Kool-Aid man.
Yes, you are. You and Maddie both. Okay, so we were talking about Messi and Friends last night from what happened last night. And now that you've had, 12 hours to digest what you saw, what'd you think?
I mean, not surprised. I think RSL was maybe a little too. And again, I'm not surprised because I know Pablo Mastroeni's style of play. I know what he wants to do in these situations. The textbook tells you go on the road against a really good attacking team. You play in a conservative way, you keep the game tight. You try to hit them in the second half. And that almost worked, to be honest. You give up the goal in the first half on a goalkeeper error by Zach McMath. Miami looked cooked after about the 55th, and just a series of horrific mistakes in the back. And RSL couldn't make them pay. And then at some point, when you have Lionel Messi and Luis Suarez on the field and they're able to get a moment where their individual skills shine, they're going to punish you if you don't take advantage of your opportunities. So, if you didn't watch the game and you just see the score line, you might come out of that and say, oh, yeah, it's Miami. They're going to win the MLS Cup, and this is what to expect. They win 2-0 at home. No worries. There should be worries coming out of it because of how shaky they look defensively, which is not new with what we've seen in 2024 from Miami. And, yeah, those legs got heavy. It's early in the season. You're still building fitness. It is a long process. But I didn't think Miami did anything to make my opinion change about them being a 4th, 5th, or 6th place team in the East.
Yeah, and a lot of folks in the Twitch pitch this morning, they want to give Luis Suarez a hug, man. That was a painful look at times.
His knees are not good. But he loves what he's doing, and I think more than anything, he loves the opportunity to play with his best friend. And the time that he had at Barcelona with Messi, and if you go back to Suarez's departure from Barcelona, that wasn't handled well, and that was painful for him. So, he'll get through it, but you're going to have to manage minutes, and he's going to have to manage the pain. The thing is, and it's easy to listen to the things he's talked about with his knees, his teammates have talked about. Go back and look at his production in over 40 games last calendar year in Brazil, which is a good league. Yeah. He scored a boatload of goals, and he created other opportunities for other players. So while he's not at 100%, and yes, he is dealing with the pain of bad knees, he's still a very dangerous player.
No doubt about it. The reason that we've got you on for the next 10 minutes before you go racing into practice is to talk about a team called Atlanta United. And they're getting ready for a trip to Columbus. You guys are heading up tomorrow, right?
Yes.
So you're at T-2 for Atlanta United, prepping for Columbus. For those who haven't had the chance to listen, what has it been like for you to see this club in the preseason from day one to the time in Tampa to all the times that you've been there at practice at the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta training ground? What has this progression been like as we're now at T-2?
Feels different in 2024 than it has in previous preseasons. And, over the years, COVID and other reasons, we've had varying levels of access to preseason, and we've done a varying level of matches in preseason. This year we've done a lot. But I don't think it's just because of that it feels so different. I think it's just a really different collection of individuals. And they've come together for a really, I think the team has a different personality going into 24, which I like. I think this is a group that is very driven. Pretty much every player that has spoken to the media, and this has been echoed by Gonzalo Pineda, by Carlos Bocanegra, by Garth Lagerwey. This is a team that wants to compete for trophies in 2024. This is a team that obviously wants to finish in the top 4 in the East because that gives you the best route to compete for MLS Cup at the end of the season. But this is a team that wants to compete for those trophies. It is a long season. You're going to have ups and downs. It is very difficult to do what we saw from Cincinnati last year, what we saw from Atlanta in 2018, what we've seen over the years with teams that go on that consistent kind of run in terms of a supporter shield or competing for a supporter shield. That's difficult. You've got to position yourself, in my opinion, if you're Atlanta United, to give yourself every opportunity to win trophies this year. And I think having all the players in preseason has been a big part of that. I think the personalities that are part of this group is a big part of that. I think getting guys like Gregerson and Slish are different characters in this group. And, you know, I don't know if it's just different background, different mentality, you know, maybe just a different personality in general, because Miles Robinson, Mateus Osechi were both very driven players. But Gregerson and Slish, like, it just, I don't know, it feels maybe more urgent. And that just might be where this team is right now. And that's a good thing. I like it. I like how the team is laid out. I like the depth in this group. But now you're down to the portion where you got to produce. And the first test is as big of a test as you're going to get, because for all the hoopla about Miami, Columbus is the favorite to win MLS Cup going into the year. They won it last year. They brought everybody back, and they were getting better as the year went on last year. There's no reason to think that they're going to slide backwards in 2024. It's hard to maintain top levels of play, of course, but Columbus, to me, is the favorite coming into the year, and that's Atlanta's first test. It is a very good measuring stick, and we'll see where this team is in day one.
Yeah, to be the man, you got to beat the man, and you get that challenge in week number 1 here with Atlanta and Columbus. And with this roster, I know Maddie's got a question, so Maddie, hang out for a second. I'll after Jason answers this question. Competition at every line. I mean, literally, you talk about the depth of this roster, and it's good competition to have, because you're going to need these guys in all the various competitions that you want to be in, the depth of playoff runs, et cetera, that you're hoping for. Keeper, there's competition. Backline, competition. Midfield, competition. Frontline, competition. That's a good thing to have, and it's going to keep everybody focused on the task at hand to get to all of these goals that you want to accomplish. You're going to have to bring your best every day.
Yeah, I think with that being said, there is at most positions a hierarchy, and that's good too. You've got guys who can step in when needed, but you also have an established 11, maybe outside of 2 spots to me. And this is not factoring in international duty and fatigue and other elements. This is everybody's available. What's your best 11? Goalkeeper, I don't think we know that answer right now, and that answer might change throughout the season between Brad Guzan and Josh Cohen. And center back, I think there is going to be competition between Derek Williams and Luis Abram. I think Derek has had a great preseason. Luis has had a good preseason as well, but they give you 2 different things. And just like we talk about in the midfield, the chemistry between your center backs is as important as your individual quality. So which one is the better partner for Gregerson? And we might see both early on as that starts to get sorted out. But Williams was the one, to me, in preseason who maybe improved his standing the most coming in, at least in my mind. And I don't know if it changed for the coaching staff, but for me, I thought it was Abram, Gregerson, no question. I got a little bit of a question now. But fullback, it's Lennon, it's Wiley. That's the best fullback pair in Major League Soccer. Holding midfield, Slish, Muyamba. I think that is established, although Jay Fortune, Dax McCarty are going to play. The number 10, we know it's Thiago Almada. We know he's going to miss some games with national team duty and such. Nick Firmino has played a lot in the preseason. I think he feels very comfortable with this first team group. The wings, it's like the midfield to the holding midfield to me. Shande, Saba, those are your number 1s. Tyler Wolff and Edwin Mosquera are not far behind, but they are the reserves there. They're going to get games. They're going to play a lot. They're going to come off the bench a lot. But you have established starters in Shande and in Saba. So competition is good, and it's going to make every training session better. But I think in terms of the starting 11, when everybody's healthy, there's 2 questions out of the 11 for me, one bigger than the other, that I think will play out over the first part of the season. And again, it's a good thing. It's a good thing to have this competition for spots, and especially in those 2 that we've talked about.
Maddie, what's on your mind?
Hello, Jason.
Hello.
It is very clear, I think, just from the energy and everything that we're seeing on social media, that it feels very different than it has in the past couple of seasons with the team chemistry, the way the team is talking about this season as a whole. What have you been seeing in training and in practices that kind of emphasize that a bit more, especially going into this first game?
I think the biggest reason it feels different, and I don't want this to come off as like, oh, it wasn't urgent before, or oh, it wasn't as competitive before. I don't think that's the case. I think it's different right now because this group's been together for longer than maybe any other Atlanta United team in preseason. Because, I mean, you think back even to year 1, you had Carlos Carmona and Joseph Martinez come in early February. You know, pretty late, not late in the process, but fairly late. Last year, you had Abram and Yakimakis come in later. So when, and Yorgos, I think it's a prime example, and somebody who I've noticed a difference with him in preseason, because when you come in as the cars running down the road, you're not in charge generally. If you hop in late, you're not in charge of what music's getting played, right?
Right.
Other people have already taken that. They already got the aux cord. So you got to find your spot, fit in as best you can. When you're there from the jump on the road trip, you're gonna, if you're that person, and Yorgos is, I think it's clear to see that he is a big presence in a good way inside of a group of people, you're going to be able to take command a little bit more. And he has, and that's good. This group's been together. So you're past that getting to know you area, even with Stian, with Derek Williams, with Bartosz. You're past that, hey, I don't really know you. Let's kind of figure this out. What do you like? These guys have spent time together. They've been in Florida for a couple of weeks. They know one another. They know what buttons to push in a good way in training. And that's something that I've seen, especially on Tuesday. Team's very vocal and very vocal in a good way. A lot of communication, but a lot of motivation as well, coming from everybody. Coming from guys like Brooks Lennon, who has been on the quieter side at times since he got here. I think he's really stepped up in terms of being a leader in this group. Somebody like Dax McCarty, who has seen it all in this league, you get him in these sessions. He's big in those moments, especially with the younger players. But you're hearing guys like Firmino. You're hearing the other players who you might not have heard before, but because this group has been together for so long in preseason as a whole unit, I think you're so far past the getting to know you stage that it's a good thing. That's why it feels different to me. It's not that it's better because they weren't as hungry before. It's that they're further along in the coming together phase. You know, any group of people, it takes time to get to know one another. These guys have had that time, and I think it's going to pay off.
I know you got to head to practice. So what's the broadcast plans on Saturday?
Saturday, 1 o'clock for the Five Stripes Countdown. We have an hour of pregame on 92.9 The Game this season. We are the only radio station in the country doing 4-hour broadcasts for MLS matches. I will put an asterisk on that. I'm not 100% positive of that, but I don't think there's anybody else doing more coverage than we are on a game-by-game basis. So 1 o'clock, Five Stripes Countdown. 2:10 is your kickoff. Go ahead and mark that down. So you know all season long, if it is an Apple TV game only, if it's not a Fox game, this is according to Kevin Egan, who would know, our friend from MLS 360 and Apple TV.
Yep.
10 minutes after the time is the kick. Last year it was 9. So 2:10 kickoff. And then for road games in the past, we haven't been able to do a full hour of the full-time report. Mike Conti and I still have to get on a plane and get home. But Abe Gordon, Garrett Chapman, they will take you through all that. And we will have audio from Gonzalo Pineda, hopefully players where we can grab them before, we all got to get ready and get out of there. will have that for you. So you'll be able to hear that on the full-time report. So 4 hours every game day, an hour of pregame, hour of postgame. Boom.
Looking forward to it. All right, get to practice, my friend.
All right, see ya.